You are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the voice of the Knights.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and we are so honored to be joined by Marcus Hayward, the lead security officer here at Central Penn College. The first time in the history of the Nightly News Podcast that we have had someone from public safety on the show, and we are going to talk all about not only just Marcus and how he got into this industry, but how students can not only be involved with public safety, but also how they can be prepared for any type of emergency situations that might arise here on campus. So, Marcus, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been too long. We've been trying to set something up like this for a while, and we just greatly appreciate your time here today, joining us on the Nightly News Podcast.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, I also want to introduce Jeff Hiltel, a new member of the Nightly News Podcast, one of our criminal justice students here, and also one of the new members of the club. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure. Thank you for showing interest in this really important topic. Well, Marcus, let's start off with just something straightforward. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe why you got into this industry and how you ended up at Central Penn?
Sure. I got into the industry. I started actually a long time ago. In 1997, I started in security, and my purpose for wanting to do security, I actually wanted to be a police officer to start off. That didn't quite work the way I wanted it to, so what I wanted to do was enhance being in security, my knowledge and things like that. And I'm always big on helping people. I love helping people. I know there's tons of aspects and tons of ways you can help, but I wanted to do it in this manner to help provide safety, help people break the typical stigma of who security or public safety is. You know, some people, think security is just out to do whatever and act like police officers and things like that. And I want to be able to set the tone to help people understand that we're here to help. If you need us for something, just contact us, talk to us, stop and talk to us to let us know that you need help. We will work with you to find out what it is that you need to be able to help you and to be able to guide you if that's what the need is. We want people to be able to, on campus, to be able to stop and talk to us. We're not always out investigating or anything like that. We're
looking
out
for trouble.
Right. We're out patrolling the campus, making sure everything is in order, making sure everyone's safe. So stop and say hi, give us a fist bump, handshake, things like that. We're here. We want you to feel comfortable with coming to talk to us if you need any kind of help.
One of the things that I always talk about is I don't know that there's anybody on this campus that's employed by Central Penn that doesn't have that mission of making sure that not only our students are safe, but that we're here to be an asset to them, not to it's not like we want students to fail classes or
Right.
to leave school. Like, we want them to be here to be safe, to get a great education, and to move on to the next step in their lives. I don't think nobody wants to be in a contentious relationship, even in security, and I think that's really cool. So how did you end up here at Central Penn?
I was actually told that there was a position open by Jay Morrison, our public safety supervisor. The director that we had at the time had mentioned that, Jay had mentioned that we had an opening here, and he thought I might be interested, and I was. So I applied, got interviewed, and got hired.
The rest is history.
That was the rest of history. That was a little over 3 years ago.
I was going to say,
loved it.
You've been here for a while, and
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, you are literally one of the nicest people on campus.
Thank you. I
Every
appreciate
interaction I have with you is just wonderful, and you are one of those people who's always asking how people are doing. You're genuinely care about your fellow coworkers. Not that everybody doesn't to a certain extent, but you're so polite and friendly about that, and that's what I appreciate from you in this security role.
So I just wanted to know, what's a quick glimpse into your daily routine look like from the end of your start of your shift to your end of your shift?
From the start of it, it depends on what time I start. Typically during the day when we're here, we're going around. We may have to go unlock buildings so that everyone can access them during the day. We're checking the campus for any issues, any hazards, things like that. If any alarm would go off, we'd go investigate what the alarm is, why it went off, and take the steps to get that resolved if need be. If we're scheduled in the afternoon, It's kind of the same thing. Only thing, the doors are already unlocked, but we're walking around campus just to make sure that everything is safe, everyone is safe. If we get called somewhere, we're going to unlock doors for students. Sometimes they might leave their keys and or their ID in their room, which is they're kind of sometimes in a hurry to leave, and the door shuts and they say, "Oh shoot, I forgot my ID." So they'll call us, and we'll go assist them with gaining access to verify that they're on the list to where they're supposed to be in their housing unit, and then we'll go and assist them with gaining access to their residence. Overnight, we're pretty much everybody's. I don't know if everybody's asleep, but everybody's at least in their residential units. But we're making sure everything is safe on campus overnight as well. So we're always out and about making sure that everything is safe. There's no one on campus because we're an open campus, so we want to make sure that no one in the community, there's no one causing any kind of issues or anything like that. So we're always looking for safety, making sure everyone's safe.
To that point, part of what we're talking about here is campus safety. And so what are some of the top safety concerns that you see, other than, helping people with lockouts and things like that and making sure that the buildings are open? What are some of the most common safety concerns that you see here on Central Penn in your 3+ years of being here?
One of the biggest things is when our students that live on campus, a lot of times, they're in a hurry to either go in their residence or come out of the residence. And, we're trying to help them understand the importance of making sure that their exterior doors are secure. We're an open campus. Any and everyone can walk on campus. There's no way to stop someone from walking on campus. So people pay attention. If you walk out of your unit and don't check your door behind you to make sure it's secure, that nobody can open it from the outside. I'm always instilling in them that people pay attention to those kind of things. So it's important for your own safety, for the safety of the rest of the residents that live in your unit. Make sure that your door is closed. Even when you go inside, pull on the door to make sure it doesn't open.
Well, that's a great point. It's not even just the individual. Many of the people who live in our super suites have multiple roommates. It might
Correct.
be 2 or 3, or it might be as many as 6 or 7 in our fall and winter terms. So, it's not just about the individual, trying to make sure that they are safe. They are responsible for the safety of all of the other residents in their townhouse.
So how does the campus prepare for emergencies if we do have an emergency here? Are there steps that you take, or?
If there's an emergency, if there's some kind of weather, I'll start with weather. Like, for example, if we are expecting like a thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm, typically a CP alert will go out. Something will go out by email. Also on the CPC app, there'll be alerts from public safety typically to inform everyone, that we have a thunderstorm coming up. Please make sure that you remain safe. We'll have steps of, what's expected and things like that, and try to provide steps to remain safe if you would have to go out,
Right.
and be in the elements. We want to provide some type of information for you to take caution while you're out.
And we have had some crazy thunderstorms this year.
We have.
I have seen some of the worst flooding. Now, I've lived in this area most of my life. I now live in Mechanicsburg. And for whatever reason, Mechanicsburg, whoever designed the drainage system in Mechanicsburg, needs redone, let's just say that. But we've seen some horrific thunderstorms this year. Do we ever see any flooding or anything like that on campus that might impact residents?
We have seen some flooding, and we try to make sure, especially if we have a flood watch or a flood warning, we also make everyone aware of that so that they're aware of if they are walking around campus, because things like that a lot of times will, especially if there's wind involved, tree limbs will fall. So we want to
tons
make
of
people
trees
aware.
around here.
Yes,
Tons of trees.
We have
Yes,
plenty of
there
them.
are.
Yes, so we provide information with that. Flooding, we have had some, not an extreme amount of flooding around, but it is possible, especially if it rains hard. Sometimes it rains so hard and heavy, it's hard to keep up. So we do have some areas, like in front of the suites, that might flood some. It's not anything drastic, but we do have some areas that cause some type of flooding.
We also have a creek that runs through campus, so
Yes, we do.
I have seen it get, I don't want to say high, I don't ever recall it overflowing its banks or anything like that.
I don't either.
But it can and will flood onto campus down often like by the ATEC patio. Again, not crazy flooding, but
Yes.
but there is flooding, and if we get a lot of rain real quick, that certainly could happen. What other type of emergencies might students be on the lookout for, just generally speaking, and how can they stay safe there?
I would say anything with if we would have any type of shooters or anything, any safety concern like that, we would put out something with safety alert. We on campus would make sure that we go around and lock down buildings so that anyone in the building stay in the building and remain safe from any intruders or whatever from the outside. So we're always, like I said, walking around campus to ensure everyone's safety. We would make sure that we provide any directions, any information, so that everyone's aware all at once to be able to prepare everyone.
Well, and we'll talk about this before the end, but to me, one of the easiest things that somebody can do would be sign up for the CP Alert.
Yes.
And of course, we've got a couple of other things that before we get out of here today, we're going to share with students and faculty and staff, for that matter, to help make sure to ensure the safety here on campus.
So before we get to that, I just wanted to see if you could share like a brief example of a well-handled situation that happened here at the school.
We had a student who had a friend that caused some property damage. So we were able to go up and assist with that. Police came on property. They were pretty much able to talk to the resident who had the damage and also speak to the person who damaged. They got, coordinated everything to get that person, because that person actually got injured. The person that caused the damage got injured. So they were able to ensure their safety, to get the medical treatment, speak to the student to be able to make sure that they were safe and to be able to get their property taken care of.
You make a really good point there, Marcus. You'd mentioned about the synergy between you and the East Pennsboro Township Police Department. Can
Yes.
you share a little bit more about that synergy and what type of relationship that you have with East Pennsboro PD?
Yes, they will come on campus a lot of times, not because anything's wrong. Sometimes they'll come in and just check with us just to make sure that we're good. When we're out and about on campus and we see them driving by, we wave to each other. If we would ever need them, we can call them. They'll come right on the spot, as soon as they can. There's never been any kind of friction with us. We have an open, a good relationship with them that we can communicate with them. They can communicate with us. Any events that we have on campus that we might need to share with them, we send to them by email. If there's anything that they need to inform us of, community-wise or safety-wise, they'll reach out to us either by email or by phone to inform us of the details of whatever it is that we need to know.
I do have one question for myself to you. So as a criminal justice student as myself, how would one get into a security position, or how would I get into a security position?
To get into a security position, I would recommend you don't always have to take criminal justice. I didn't take any criminal justice courses to get into it.
Right.
My interest allowed me to, I spoke to different people that I knew that were in the industry to be able to provide insight as to how to go about applying for, if there was a certain location that I wanted to apply at, or certain business I wanted to apply at, I would reach out to people who I knew were already in the industry to be able to apply so that I could get my foot in the door and to be able to help. And I've been in this field now, this year makes for me 28 years that I've been doing this. So I've been doing this a long time. So, and I'm grateful to do it. I say it's a thankless job, and I say that because you have often times where people aren't always grateful for what you do, but it is rewarding. There are times that it doesn't happen often enough, and I wish it did, but you have times when people will come up to you and say, "Thank you for what you do. We appreciate you keeping us safe." And they tell us to be safe as well. So that is actually rewarding out of all that we do. We have a lot of rewarding things that we do as far as helping. A lot of times, helping someone is small to you but big to the person you're helping. So it's always rewarding because you get a smile and a thank you and I appreciate it and things like that. So it's very rewarding.
One thing you'd mentioned about it being a thankless job, it's also a thankless job because if you're doing your job, there's nothing that's going on. Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times what you're more about the prevention than necessarily addressing the individual things that people might associate with being a security officer.
Right.
So in a sense, that's thankless as well because basically if everything's good on campus, no one's really even going to notice your presence, and that's a good thing.
That's a good thing, yes.
That's a good thing. That's what we want. So, I mean, in that sense as well, I would imagine it's a thankless job because a safe campus is kind of a boring campus, right? When you say
At times.
So just looking ahead, are there any upcoming safety initiatives and like how can students get involved or give feedback to you guys?
They can give feedback in any way. They can send an email to publicsafety@centralpenn.edu. They can call us by phone. Our phone number is 717-728-2364. Or they can stop in the office and share any information, provide any suggestions to us. As far as safety awareness and things like that, we try to provide safety awareness through presentation, or we can provide information on the Central Station, Student Central. We sometimes will put out articles of things that might be happening. We'll also put them on the the CPC app. To provide, when something's coming up so that everyone has information. Most of the time it might be by email if we have something that we need send out campus-wide. But the CPC app is one of them. That's actually the quickest way. Email, somebody will get to when they get through the email, but the CPC app seems to be the quickest way to alert someone of anything going on campus.
And last thing, you in the past have done a Cup of Joe with a PSO. Tell us a little bit more about that and if there are any future events like that coming up.
I'd like to see if we can do some more of those. The purpose of that is to help students, like I said before, to come to get to know us. That's what we want. We want students to come to get to know us, to be able to understand that they can come in and talk to us. We try to put those, when we do those, out on the app as well as Central Station, Student Central, so that everyone's aware. We try to do those like within the first 2 to 3 weeks of the new term. So any new students that we have, and it's not just open for students. We have faculty, staff that stop by. There's pastries there. We provide information. Anyone wants to stop and talk and ask questions, we can answer questions for them about anything around campus safety-wise or whatever questions they might have. We want that interaction with everyone so that they understand, behind, the badge and the uniform, we're still people. We want you to be able to connect with us just, on a normal basis.
Well, Marcus has a call that he needs to go because he is working. But Marcus, we want to just thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Number one, I would love, as soon as you get a date for the Cup of Joe with PSO, let us know. We'll share that through the Nightly News as well. And, of course, we'll be there and join you. But seriously, thank you so much for your time today. This was really insightful, and we look forward to having you back again.
Thank you. We appreciate the invite.
Well, Jeff, I want to bring you in here for a moment. Part of the reason that you're here today is because of your background in going for the criminal justice program. Let's ask you, what is it about criminal justice that made you so excited to want to take this on as a career?
Well, I've always been fascinated with like true crime documentaries and how the mind works of a serial killer and the forensics behind it. I even went to the National Night Out in Lemoyne to help out with my church, and they had like a forensics truck there, and I got some information because I like that part too. So I'm sure I'm gonna have to get another degree for forensic science and all that stuff. But like Marcus, I like helping people out. I like doing stuff for people. So it just, I don't know, just everything with criminal justice just fascinates me.
Well, I appreciate not only your interest, I appreciate you being a part of the Nightly News. I'm so glad to have had you on your very first podcast here with the Nightly News. Of course, Jeff has told me that he's done some other podcasts in the past, so it's not your first podcast, but it's your first podcast here with us. A couple things, though, before we get out of here that I did want to touch on. There's a lot of different resources that students can use. First and foremost, I would most certainly hope that everyone is signed up for the Central Penn Alert. If you are not signed up for the Central Penn Alert, you can just go to your My Central Penn and you will see the CP Alert tab. When you click on that, all you need to do is put in your information. I have my cell phone number, and I get a text message anytime there's a CP alert. Now, in fairness, the vast majority of those are delays or cancellations in the wintertime, but I have seen in the past where there are other issues. Maybe a road is closed around campus. There's a lot of reasons why, but if nothing else, just making sure that you're signed up to that in case there ever is an issue, it immediately goes directly to your phone. You can also sign up for it to go to your email as well, and if you're on campus anywhere and you're on a computer, say in a computer lab or the library, it'll actually show up on your screen as well. So that's the very first thing I would suggest to all the listeners out there, is to make sure you're signed up for the Central Penn Alert. As Marcus said, they also communicate through the Central Penn app. You can reach our public safety office at 717-728-2364. They are located in the first floor of Bollinger Hall, just next to the podcast studio. And if you would like to submit an anonymous tip through the UTIP, you can text 79516. That's 79516 for an anonymous text message to our security office. And those are all the different ways that you can stay in touch with public safety. And of course, they want to know how you're doing. They want to know how you're doing in class. Stop on by and let them know, and develop a good relationship with them. Last but not least, certainly keeping an eye out on the Central Penn app for any other information. Jeff, what are your final thoughts as we close up shop today?
It was a very interesting discussion to hear from what Marcus had to say about everything that he said. Just very interesting.
And we give them so much credit and respect for
Yes.
everything that they do. I am so happy that we got to have Marcus on today. Again, it is the first time that we have ever had someone from public safety on, so maybe we'll make this sort of a regular segment,
Maybe
because
we can do that.
I think this is really important that our students, not only just the students though, and the faculty and staff too, we all spend a great deal of time on this campus, so we need to just make sure we're safe.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. Of course, we'd like to thank Lead Public Safety Officer Marcus Hayward and new Nightly News member Jeff Hiltel. Jeff, what'd you think for your first episode?
I enjoyed it.
Well, good. We'll have you back again soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. For Marcus Hayward, for Jeff Hiltel, this is Professor Paul Miller, and we'll see you again next time.
Hi, I'm Shauna.
And I'm Denise.
And I'm Adrienne from the Pirate Life Podcast, and you're listening to the Nightly News Podcast.
Arr!
This is Nightly News correspondent Noah Lopez with the summer 2025 episode of the Nightly News Brief. This news podcast features audio versions of stories from our student reporters. Articles by Noah Lopez, Jules Quare, Paul Miller, and Arsenio Humphrey are featured in today's episode. The Nightly News Media Club has announced the recipients for the 4th class for induction into the Nightly News Hall of Fame, a way to honor prestigious alumni members and recognize their achievements with Central Penn College's student news organization. The 2025 class, consisting of Dylan Bowman, Gabrielle Abby Bresky, Janelle Dulac, and Andrew Hunter, will be inducted into the Nightly News Hall of Fame during a ceremony on October 17th in the Conference Center at Central Penn College. This event is the kickoff to the Homecoming 2025 weekend in Somerdale. What follows is a brief snapshot of the contributions of each member who is being inducted. Of course, this is only just a sampling of their contributions. Bowman was an influential member of the Nightly News Media Club, quickly rising to president of Central Penn College's student news organization in his first year. Bowman gained numerous accolades during his time at Central Penn, most notably taking home 2 prestigious Pennsylvania News Media Association awards for his photography. In 2023, as part of the nightly news coverage of Central Penn baseball, Bowman took home first place for sports photography and took home second place honors in 2024. Bresky is one of the most recognizable nightly news members in club history, overseeing some of the most memorable aspects of the club's major gains in recent years. Bresky, who served as president for nearly 2 years, had numerous accolades. To start, Bresky landed on the cover of the Nightly News Quarterly commemorative publication, a record 5 times, a testament to the type and quality of written work she engaged in during her time with the club. She also developed and published one of the most intensive stories that the Nightly News ever engaged in, as she researched 2 Enola area baseball players who reached the major leagues in the 1930s and 40s. Dulac was a cornerstone member of the Nightly News Media Club's recent history, guiding the organization through the difficult times of the COVID-19 pandemic as president. During her time with the Nightly News, Dulac took great pride in covering stories of underrepresented individuals on campus. These stories included emotional support animals on Central Penn's campus, gender-inclusive housing, and wrote one of the features in our Layers of Community series, in which she took home an honorable mention from the Pennsylvania News Media Association. Dulac was also the second ever CPC film series correspondent. Hunter was one of the key members of the Nightly News sports broadcasting team during his time at Central Penn, rising to become the club's first journalist to receive the title of sports reporter. Hunter was integral in our coverage of basketball and baseball, often writing game wraps for Knights Athletics. Outside of sports, Hunter also covered a variety of other campus happenings, including the annual Legal Studies mock trial, the Nightly News representing Central Penn at the Phillies College Series event, as well as numerous other stories. When you think of a hospital or surgery, I can guess the first few things that you probably think of: surgeons, nurses, waiting rooms, and hospitals. I'm sure you didn't think of or even know about surgical technologists. In the operating room, many people have many different jobs. The certified surgical technologist is the surgeon's outside hands. They are the people right next to the surgeon and focusing on their top priority of passing the surgeon tools that are effective and sterile, and making sure the surgical site remains clean. CSTS, commonly referred to as surge techs, are trained not only in information about operating rooms, but are also taught about the human body and changes it can encounter. Central Penn offers a surgical technology program. Tiffany Hollinger is a non-traditional age college student in her second term in Central Penn's Surgical Technology Certificate program. Hollinger was involved in healthcare before she enrolled in Central Penn, and she was a certified nursing assistant and an operating room assistant. And after a while, Hollinger felt the need to expand her horizons. Unfortunately, health issues emerged among loved ones, but that experience drove her desire to help others. Quote, "My father suffered from cancer, and that just made me want to be a part of the process even more," end quote, Hollinger said. Hollinger is excited to pursue becoming a surgical technologist. Friends referred her to Central Penn, and she is very satisfied with her professors and classmates. Former veterinary technician Megan Miller used to run the operating room at a veterinary clinic. She wanted to begin to help save people's lives. Miller said she's ready for her future as a surgical technician, and she said Central Penn is helping her reach that future. Miller said she has been very happy with the hands-on learning and affordability Central Penn provides. Rebecca Rundle said she might not have healthcare experience, but go ahead, just ask her about Grey's Anatomy. And Rundle wanted to be involved in the action, so she chose Central Penn for surgical technology. Quote, "As soon as I applied to Central Penn, the college made me feel wanted," end quote, Rundle said. Madeline Brown also may not have experience in healthcare, but that doesn't mean anything to her. She said Central Penn is located close enough to home so that she can attend her classes easily. People interviewed for this story said 2 of the major perks at Central Penn are affordability and people's personability inside classrooms. Students said they feel the college offers great classes and that they are very satisfied with Central Penn's student-to-faculty ratio. Central Penn's Career Services Department indicated in its recent employment report that the college maintains a high job placement rate for its graduates. Students also said they like Central Penn's accelerated programs, in which students can take classes year-round and earn a degree faster than at colleges that follow a traditional semester model. Those interviewed mentioned they noticed that Central Penn professors care about their students, academically and personally, and that makes them feel seen as a person and not as, quote, "a number," end quote, which some of their friends said they felt at larger schools. The Central Penn College Pantry will be running a food drive, taking place from August 18th to September 17th, to address a limited supply of items for students who request services. The food drive, spearheaded by Nightly News Vice President Hannah Pasquarella, addresses the growing demand for food among students at Central Penn College. The food drive is looking for a variety of items, including non-perishable food items, pasta sauces, and snacks. But the Central Penn College Pantry also offers other items to students, such as cleaning supplies, personal care items, and school supplies. To donate your items, there are 2 drop-off locations, one in the A-Tech lobby next to the Knights Keep, and one in Bollinger Hall near the mailroom. Most importantly, the College Pantry assists all students of Central Penn College, not just residential students. Commuters, evening students, and online students are all eligible to use the pantry. Food insecurity is nothing new on college campuses. According to a 2024 survey by the Hope Center from Temple University, 41% of students faced food insecurity within the past month. 38% of students at four-year institutions experienced food insecurity. Only 44% of students reported consistent access to adequate food, highlighting that over half struggled with meal reliability. And 59% experienced at least one form of basic needs insecurity, including food or housing, over the past year. One issue the pantry has experienced is with expiration dates on donated items. While the pantry greatly appreciates all items that are donated, it is crucial for those donating to ensure that the items are not out of date. For additional information or with questions, you can reach out to Pasquarella at hannah.pasquarella@mymail.centralpenn.edu. The Central Penn College debate team argued its way to a 7-point victory over Bryan University earlier this term, in a competition that challenged both teams to tackle one of the most complex constitutional questions of the year. That question was President Donald Trump's Executive Order 14160, also known as Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship, and its implications for the 14th Amendment's guarantee of birthright citizenship. The debate, conducted in the World Schools Forum style, required each team to analyze the topic. Should the current proposed executive order on birthright citizenship be upheld? The teams addressed the specific legal issue of whether the executive order in question violates the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of birthright citizenship. A Department of Homeland Security document about the department's preparations to implement enforcement of the order, which is under injunction from a federal court, notes the following changes the Trump administration hopes to enforce. The order provides that the following categories of individuals will no longer be considered to be born subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and therefore will no longer be U.S. citizens at birth. Quote, children whose mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, and children whose mother's presence in the United States at the time of said person's birth was lawful but temporary, such as, but not limited to, visiting the United States under the Visa Waiver Program, or visiting on a student, work, or tourist visa, and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. End quote. The 14th Amendment says, in part, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. End quote. The World Schools Forum debate format is one in which students on teams argue about a topic, pro or con. The team members prepare short speeches that outline the issue and their stance, responses to the arguments the other team makes, and collaborate to hone clear, persuasive arguments in their cases, for or against the debate topic. The debate was held in Central Penn's Law Library. Some students and faculty members attended. The team was formed in the spring term. Club advisor Harry M. Baturin, director of Central Penn's Legal Studies program, said, quote, "The debaters had to research the topic, prepare their arguments, and develop strong defenses in a short time frame, as per the rules of the debate format," end quote. The Bryan team brought a powerful presence to the competition, exhibiting a relentless drive and well-researched positions. After a tie at the midpoint, CPC surged ahead. In the final 2 rounds, the competition concluded with Central Penn winning by a 7-point margin. If you've noticed concert posters around campus or heard music coming from the Capitol Blue Cross Theater on weekend nights, then you've stumbled on something you may like. These events are part of The Champ, a concert series by independent entertainment group CI Productions. The shows are held inside the Capitol Blue Cross Theater, right in the heart of campus, but many students are unfamiliar with The Champ or how it works. According to Joseph Caviston, Central Penn's digital communications strategist, the Champ concerts are not college-sponsored events. Instead, they are organized by CI Productions, a longtime Pennsylvania music promoter that rents the space to bring in artists. Caviston explained that the partnership began last autumn, after CI Productions reached out about using the theater for a single concert. Because the space wasn't being used frequently, the college saw an opportunity to offer more live entertainment on campus without the college needing to plan or fund the shows. Caviston said, quote, "We just worked out a rental agreement. They handle everything from booking to promotion. We just provide the space," end quote. Even though Central Penn isn't involved in planning the events, the college made sure students could benefit. As part of the rental deal, students can attend any Champ concert for free by showing their student ID at the door. Caviston went on to say, quote, "It's a way to give students more to enjoy here, and it doesn't cost the college anything extra," end quote. CI Productions has a long history on the state's music scene. The company previously ran a venue in Lemoyne, also called The Champ, which was known for hosting rock, punk, and alternative acts. While the original location closed due to rising rent, the team behind it still promotes shows throughout Pennsylvania and also runs CI Records, a label known for launching bands like August Burns Red and Texas in July. Because the CI Productions handles the booking, the lineup at Central Penn often features heavier music. Caviston said the group has hosted other styles too, including hip-hop, and encouraged students to speak with the event team directly if they have requests. Recent concerts have drawn strong crowds, including people from outside the college. Caviston said that helps raise awareness of Central Penn in the community. Caviston added, quote, "It brings new faces to campus. It's like free visibility for us," end quote. Find details and ticket information at cirecords.com/thechamp or on the Champ's Facebook page. All students need to do is bring their ID to attend for free. As word spreads, the Champ is slowly becoming one of the more unique perks of life at Central Penn. For students who live on campus or commute from nearby, it offers a chance to experience live music without leaving school grounds. This has been Noah Lopez with the Summer 2025 episode of the Nightly News Brief.